In our last video, the 15-year-old Hu Ronghua shocked the Xiangqi world with a brilliant cannon sacrifice against the reigning champion. But here's the thing, a sacrifice is just a sacrifice if you cannot convert the endgame. Today we'll see how Hu turned that advantage into victory, and along the way, learn a few endgame lessons that still matter today. So grab your tea, set up your board, let's begin. In this position, black has 1 chariot, 3 pawns, and 4 defense, versus red's 1 chariot, again 3 pawns, but only with 2 advisors. Furthermore, black's chariot and the central pawn are slightly pinned by red's chariot, which adds some difficulty in converting the win. In theoretical endgames, you need to know which final positions are wins or draws. From there, you can plan your own strategy to achieve a winning setup and avoid a dead draw. In his post-game analysis, Hu revealed that there are 2 distinct winning paths. Both are rooted in a core endgame theory. Chariot plus pawn wins against a lone chariot, but adding a defensive advisor makes it trickier. We'll cover this deep theory in future videos, but here is how Hu applied it. Path A, the ultimate goal was to trade a pawn for both of red's advisors, while picking up red's first file pawn for free. This leaves both sides with 1 chariot plus 2 pawns, but with a massive catch. Black's nice file pawn is now a dangerous pass pawn. Once it crosses the river, the game inevitably simplifies into a chariot plus pawn versus chariot setup. As we mentioned, it's a guaranteed win. Path B was the backup, trading the pawn for only 1 advisor. This leads to a chariot plus pawn versus chariot plus advisor configuration, while black still holds a massive advantage. Converting it into a victory is significantly more difficult. This clear endgame roadmap is exactly why Hu played the way he did. Let's come back to the actual game. Black played elephant 5 plus 7. The goal is to use the general's power to capture red's both advisors. Red pawn 6-7 approaching black's pawn. Black continued his plan with advisor 5 plus 6. Now if red still played pawn 7-8 for capturing black's pawn, black can play boom, pawn 5 plus 1, trading both of red's advisors with an initiative, and then he can use it to capture red's first file pawn. As we mentioned, now the nice file pawn becomes the pass pawn, a must win for black. Red avoided this initiative by playing general 5-6. Now if black still trades for both red advisors, red chariot can go out, meaning black wouldn't win immediately. So Hu played pawn 1 plus 1 instead. Red moves his chariot to a more active place. Now if black still trades for 2 advisors, red can still play chariot 7-6 and then followed by 6 plus 2. Now the patrolling chariot can cover both of the pawns, and he can find a chance to trade a nice pawn. This would basically be a dead draw because black's pawns cannot cross the river. Therefore, Hu adopted plan B, trading 1 advisor and then take the pawn. Red played chariot 7-5 and occupied the center, followed by 5 plus 3, capturing both the elephants and pawn. Hu played chariot 9-3, which serves 2 functions. First, it captures red's pawn. Second, it indirectly protects his elephant and pawn. Because if red takes black's pawn, black can capture red's advisor like this. This would once again lead to a must-win path A. Red also cannot play general 6-5 because black can check and take the pawn. If red also takes the pawn, black can check and occupy the center. It is a textbook win again. Occupying the center is crucial in endgames. So Yang Guanlin played advisor 5 plus 6, the most resilient move. Black takes the pawn and red takes the elephant. There have been debates about whether it would be easier to draw if red took the pawn instead of the elephant. Hu said there was still no chance, because black can play chariot 3-4 for capturing red's advisor, followed by elephant 7+5. Hu's idea was red chariots cannot capture black's pawn. Then black can just adjust the advisors. Now black is threatening red's advisor, so red chariots must defend. Now this is a winning position for black. But actually there are still some deep subtleties here. We will skip them for the sake of time. Now let's go back to the actual game. Hu protected his own pawn, and red chariot 3-1, preventing from black's pawn crossing the river easily. Now it's worth mentioning that if this pawn trade with black's this pawn, then it is a draw. Let's briefly look at why it is the case. To push the pawn forward, it needs the cover from black's chariot, like this. Then red can just follow it constantly and force the position to become like this. It is a very typical draw pattern. We will cover it in future videos. Another question in this position is that can red play chariot 5-6 in order to defend his own advisor and at the same time preventing black's pawn from crossing the river? The answer is still no, because black can force a chariot trade like this. After trading, black can use this pawn to capture red's this pawn, and then it simplifies again to another endgame theory, which is two pawns win against single advisor. So Yang played chariot 5+1 and chased black's pawn. Keep chasing. Now Hu played chariot 1-9 to protect its home pawn, because if this pawn becomes a low pawn like this, there is more chance of drawing the game. Since both sides are locked here, there's a question, can red play a waiting move like this? The answer is no, because black can pawn 9+1 and red cannot follow anymore, because black can just capture red's pawn here. Therefore in this position, Yang played chariot 5+2 to chase this pawn. Hu chariot 9-4 in order to capture the advisor. Yang general 6+1 to protect his own advisor. Now Hu thinks his nice pawn is ready, so he gives up his first pawn. Let's appreciate how Hu finished this game. He started to adjust his advisors, preparing for general 5-4 to assist the attack. Here red has to play chariot 5-5 to defend. Otherwise, if black played pawn 6+1 followed by general 5-4, red's chariot cannot come back and he loses his advisor. So Yang played chariot 5-5 here as mentioned. Now red's chariot is tied here, so Hu takes this opportunity to eliminate red's pawn, killing red's last hope of draw. Black can now bravely push the pawn to a low pawn like this. Interestingly, if black did not have any advisors, but instead have an elephant in this position, it would be a draw. Keeping advisors and elephants can be a decisive matter in the endgame, even though many people believe they can only defend. We will cover this specific point in future videos. Let's go on. Red here played chariot 8-3 in order to defend his 6th file. Black's chariot 1-6 is a good move, because red cannot play chariot a6 as planned. Another endgame theory, let's take a look. If red does, black can force a chariot trade like this. Simplifying into an endgame theory, single pawn cleverly wins single advisor. Let's take a look. For red to draw, his general needs to show face, but in this position he cannot, because red's advisor is hiding his general. Red can only move his general. Then black advisor 4-5. Now if red moves his general back again, black can play his pawn here, then it's over. So red can only move his advisor. Black also moves his advisor, showing the center file. Red moves advisor again. Black now has a waiting move and then control the center. The game is over because black just captures red's advisor. As we studied, red cannot play chariot 8-6, so instead he played 8-4 to chase Hu's pawn. Black chariot 1-4, then Yang resigned. Why did Yang resign? Because first, he cannot take Hu's pawn. Otherwise, he will just lose his chariot like this. If red played chariot 4-2 to defend his own advisor, black can pawn 6-5. The next move will be chariot 4-2. There is absolutely no solution. That's why Yang resigned in this position. And the legendary game just ended. So, endgame theory is your final destination. Your win rates depend on your familiarity and performance under pressure. I also list examples taken from this game. While learning the theory, you also learn and accumulate specific endgame skills. During a game, you must sometimes analyze your current position. This is your starting point. I also list something to consider. To connect the start to the destination, you need a roadmap. Hu Ronghua mapped out 2 clear paths corresponding to different final destinations that are final patterns. To improve your own endgame, remember these 3 things. Learn theory, analyze the positions, and plan your roadmap. I will cover these specific theories in future videos. Stay tuned, and I will see you next time.